They laughed. They doubted. They said you weren't good enough, smart enough, talented enough. They rolled their eyes when you spoke your dreams out loud, as if your ambition was a joke, a delusion. But here's the truth they never understood: rejection is not the end of your story. It's the ignition. It's the spark that lights the fire they never saw coming. Every no you hear, every door that slams in your face, every smirk that tells you to give up, that is your fuel. It burns in your chest, not as bitterness, but as power. You see, rejection isn't personal. It's a test. It asks one question: how bad do you want this? Most people fold when they hear no. Most people take doubt as evidence that they should stop. But not you. Not this time. Because this time, you're going to turn every ounce of disbelief into discipline. You're going to convert pain into progress, setbacks into setups, failure into fuel. You'll show up when it's hard. You'll work when it's silent. You'll build in the shadows until the light has no choice but to find you. And make no mistake, this isn't about proving them wrong. This is about proving yourself right. Because deep down, you know who you are. You know what you're capable of. But knowing isn't enough, you've got to act on it. You've got to rise above the noise and build a reality so loud it drowns out every doubt. They don't believe in you? Good. Now you're free. Free from expectation. Free from pressure. Free to rewrite your own rules. The greatest freedom comes when no one expects you to win, because then, you're no longer confined by their limitations. You're only bound by your own grit. Think about every legend you admire. Every underdog who made it. Every giant who started small. What do they all have in common? At some point, no one believed in them either. That's the universal story of greatness: disrespected, dismissed, underestimated, and still, they rose. So let them doubt. Let them talk. Let them write you off. Because what they say has nothing to do with who you're becoming. You don't need their permission to evolve. You need discipline, consistency, obsession. That's it. And when you embrace rejection not as a curse, but as a catalyst, your entire life begins to change. You stop waiting for approval and start working for transformation. You stop chasing validation and start becoming undeniable. And that shift, that moment when you realize no one is coming to save you, no one owes you belief, and no one can stop you but you, that's when the grind truly begins. It's lonely at first, quiet, uncelebrated, but if you stay the course, if you push through the resistance, the world won't be able to ignore you, because excellence doesn't stay hidden forever. Real power doesn't need to announce itself, it shows up in results, in impact, in presence, and your time is coming, not because someone gave it to you, but because you earned it. So let rejection sharpen your focus, let it harden your will, let it drive you deeper into the mission. The more they doubt you, the more you owe it to yourself to rise, not for revenge, but for revelation. Because the best comeback isn't loud, it's undeniable. Not because you yelled louder, but because you became better. Because you walked through the fire and didn't flinch. Because you chose growth over comfort, action over fear, purpose over popularity. And one day, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day, they'll look back and realize they were wrong. But by then, it won't matter, because you'll already be there, standing tall, unapologetic, unshaken, unstoppable. That's the power of rejection, when it's used right. That's what happens when nobody believes in you and you use it as fuel instead of a finish line. So remember this: every no you hear is not a stop sign, it's a challenge. Every laugh you hear is not a warning, it's a trigger. And every person who doesn't believe in you is doing you a favor. They're handing you a gift, a reason to go harder, push further, and rise higher than they ever imagined. So good. Let them doubt. Let them walk away. Let them say you can't. Because now it's time to show them what happens when they do. They said you wouldn't last, that you weren't serious, that you'd give up like the rest. You heard it in their voice, saw it in their eyes, felt it in their silence, doubt so thick it nearly choked your will. And for a second, you almost believed them, but not anymore, because now you've discovered the weapon they never saw coming: discipline. Not talent, not hype, just relentless, quiet, unshakable discipline. That's how you're going to win. You don't need their belief when you have your routine. You don't need their validation when you have your habits. Doubt doesn't break you anymore, it builds you. It sharpens your edge. It keeps you grounded, because when no one else believes in you, discipline becomes your best friend. It shows up when you're tired. It speaks when fear is loud. It acts when your mind wants to quit. While others scroll, you study. While they sleep, you build. While they wait to feel inspired, you execute. Every rep, every step, every hour in silence is a seed. And while they doubt, you plant. one discipline at a time. And the best part? They won't see it coming. Because discipline is invisible until it isn't. Until the results speak. Until your actions roar. Until the quiet work turns into undeniable proof. That's when they'll start to ask how you did it. And you'll know, you did it because you didn't flinch when they laughed. You did it because their doubt fueled your fire. You did it because you trained when it was boring. You showed up when it was hard. You pushed when no one was watching. They thought discipline was punishment, but you made it your power. You made it your revenge. Not with noise, not with drama, but with focus. You turned you can't into I did. Not once, not twice, but every single day you chose structure over chaos, repetition over randomness, mission over mood. That's what changed everything. You didn't wait for a miracle. You became one. And now, as you keep showing up, keep building, keep leveling up without applause, without recognition, you're not just working, you're transforming. You're becoming unrecognizable. You're leaving behind the version of you that needed to be believed in, because now you believe in yourself. And belief backed by discipline? That's not just dangerous, it's unstoppable. Let them doubt. Let them underestimate. Let them think it's over. Because for you, it's just beginning. And every moment you stay locked in, every day you follow through, you're proving one thing: discipline doesn't need attention. It creates it. So keep moving in silence. Keep crushing your system. Keep building your empire brick by brick. Because the same people who ignore you now will swear they supported you later. And by then, it won't matter. You won't be chasing belief, you'll be living proof. Rejection, it stings, doesn't it? It cuts deeper than failure because it's not just about what you couldn't do, it's about who they believe you are. Or more painfully, who they believe you aren't. The moment someone says, "You're not good enough," something breaks, but something else wakes up. And if you let it, that wake-up call becomes your weapon. Rejection isn't a wall, it's a mirror. It shows you who's really committed. Because when the world turns its back, most people walk away. But you stayed. You stood in the silence, stared into the void, and said, "Not yet, but soon." That's the difference. Rejection didn't end you, it refined you. It burned away your ego, exposed your weakness, tested your patience, and asked you the real question: are you still willing to rise without applause? Are you still hungry when the table is empty? If the answer is yes, then understand this: every no you've ever heard was actually a secret yes in disguise. A yes to your growth. A yes to your resilience. A yes to your future self, who's being sculpted not by praise, but by pain. See, most people run from rejection. You ran toward it. You let it sharpen your edges, harden your resolve, toughen your skin. That's why you're different. You didn't crumble, you evolved. When they closed the door, you learned to build your own. And now, every setback, every laugh, every "you're not ready" fuels the storm inside you. You're no longer proving them wrong, you're proving yourself right. That's power. That's real resilience. And it didn't come easy. It came from hearing no after no and still choosing to show up. From walking into rooms that didn't want you and refusing to shrink. From getting knocked down and daring to stand taller than before. Rejection tried to silence you, but you turned up the volume. And now, that voice inside that once doubted, it believes. Because rejection didn't break you, it built you. It taught you to stop begging for approval and start owning your lane. It taught you that validation doesn't come from the outside, it comes from consistency, from execution, from doing the work long after they stopped watching. You learned that the people who laughed at your dream don't matter. What matters is that you kept dreaming while working, kept failing forward, kept rising through the dirt until even rejection had to respect you. And when that moment comes, when the ones who once dismissed you are now taking notes on how you did it, remember, it wasn't revenge that brought you here. It was resilience, quiet, relentless, disciplined resilience, built in the shadows, born from every door slammed in your face. You didn't get lucky, you got better. You didn't get picked, you picked yourself. That's the kind of transformation rejection creates when you stop fearing it and start feeding off it. So let them say you're not enough. Let them reject your work, your effort, your vision. Let them doubt. You don't need the world's green light when you've already decided to go. The road won't be easy. It's not supposed to be. But every painful rejection is secretly training you for a version of success no one saw coming except you. Because you endured what they couldn't. You stayed when others left. You fought when it wasn't fair. And now you're not chasing opportunity, you've become it. Let rejection fuel the fire. Let it remind you who you are. Because the greatest stories were never written by the accepted, they were written by the relentless. Every time someone doubted you, they unknowingly handed you a gift: fuel. Doubt is energy in disguise, but only for those ruthless enough to use it. See, while most people crumble when they're underestimated, you're built different. You take that doubt and you don't just carry it, you set it on fire. And every morning, while others wait for inspiration, you rise with a reason, because they didn't believe in you, they didn't clap, they didn't bet on you, and that's exactly why you're dangerous. You've been grinding in silence while they were laughing, training while they were talking, building while they were blind. You remember every smirk, every time they rolled their eyes, every dismissive good luck. You don't forget, you store that in your chest, and you use it, not with hate, with hunger, because doubt is only destructive if you let it define you, but if you're bold enough to own it, wear it, channel it, it becomes your edge. The difference between those who talk and those who transform. Doubt creates two types of people, those who retreat and those who rise, and you're the one who rises. Every task, every hour, every early morning when no one's watching, you're feeding that fire, not because you're trying to prove them wrong anymore, but because now, you're proving yourself right. That's the shift. At first, you needed their disbelief to spark the engine, but now, you've become the engine. You've trained yourself to move when it's hard, to show up when it's boring, to push when nobody's pushing you. You've developed an obsession with leveling up, not for validation, but for evolution, because doubt, when turned inward, becomes a mirror. It makes you question, can I really do this? And instead of avoiding that question, you face it daily. You use it to sharpen your mind, discipline your body, focus your thoughts. Doubt becomes your training partner, your silent coach, the inner tension that forces you to grow. Others avoid doubt. You embrace it. Others get paralyzed by it. You move through it. You wake up knowing no one expects you to win, and that's your superpower. Expectations are a weight, but doubt is wings. It frees you from pressure. No one's watching, so you're free to fail, to learn, to improve without noise. And over time, while they're still doubting, you're becoming undeniable. It's not overnight, it's not glamorous, but every single day you choose discipline over distraction, effort over excuses. You stack invisible victories. Doubt gave you the push, but your commitment gave you the progress. And here's what they won't see coming: the day you walk into the room, not with noise, but with proof. The day your results speak so loudly, doubt can't survive the volume. You don't need to explain anymore. You don't need to defend. You just execute, and let the silence that follows speak volumes. The game was never about who believed in you. It was about whether you believed in you enough to move through the darkness they couldn't even see. Most people fold under doubt. You forged yourself in it. So next time someone looks at you like you won't make it, don't flinch, smile, let them feed the fire. Because the more they doubt, the deeper you dig, the stronger you rise. And when the time comes, when the results are undeniable, they'll call it sudden. But you'll know the truth. You didn't come out of nowhere. You came out of the doubt they gave you, and you turned it into destiny.